The van, meanwhile, rushed forward, and the moment it could be seen, sirens began firing upon it. Hope the armor unit on this thing is going to be, or it's going to be a short trip, Vesper shouted back, as others were getting ready for a fight. Between here and Mauricio got in the engine and a hail of blood fire, it was hard to hear much of anything. Don't worry, Sanada shouted back. I'm certainly able this will work. You sure? Yeah, I guess. I've never worked with an able department before. With a final roar of the engine, the fan impacted the front gates. The front of the armored van exploded outward, sending the ruined wrought iron door slamming forward. While most of the enemy sirens managed to get out of the way in time, a few did not and were torn apart by flying metal. As the cannon skidded to a stop, Araminso screamed, I thought you said this was a belt of armor! Sonata Plus, did I say able to armor? I meant reactive. Silly me. I have a hard time believing a girl who could turn into a van into an APC being mistaken like that, Sophia Droke. Or Sable said, kicking the door open and jumping out. It's go time! He immediately rushed away from the van and got by one of the concrete barricades that had been set aside but put in place. As he opened fire on him, he tucked behind a cement object before returning fire. Kid, you're going to get yourself murdered that way! Sophia jumped out of the van and dove for the concrete barrier. The sounds fired out sizzling through the air above his head. He landed in an undignified manner, then lobbed a grenade over the top. The grenade went as aimed, causing several sirens to scare before it went off. As it was, the blast stunned a few, allowing you to get a few shots in. You bitches are going down, he shouted. Just talk for the fate of dead man, one of them shouted, drawing a bead on from a marksman rifle, only to have her neck torn open by an arrow shot. Just this way, Arya reached for another arrow in her quiver. It's a shot that you know he'll get you, she stated, knocked her bow once more. Bow and arrow? Seriously? Vesper drawled, throwing at him a smile on her face. In response, Arya took aim, fired a bow, and the missile flew true, right into the muzzle of a shotgun that a siren was taking aim with. The weapon backfired, sending heated shards to her face and body, making her scream in pain before another arrow immediately tore through her mouth, ending her for good. Okay, bow and arrow it is. Sometimes you just have to find appreciation for the classics, Arya said with a smirk. Finally, between the gunfire and the crash, the bulletproof window finally shattered, and Araminso and Adagio dove behind the front seats, which were immediately shredded by automatic fire. They have us pinned down now, Araminso shouted to the others. We gotta clear out that sharpshooter topside or we're done for. I can't get a bead, Arya shouted back, poked her head out, and a stitch of bullets immediately made her duck back in. She poked her head back out and returned fire with her DMR. That's a negative. She's too well buttoned up. I'm going for it, Adagio insisted. Dazi, Mezzo, I'm faster than you. I can get over there, take her down. And when I do that, I'll have another angle attack for the tangos. If Adagio was expecting approval for a grand tour, what she got was something else. Are you crazy? You'll get killed out there. No, I won't, Adagio said confidently. You taught me well, remember? Besides, I've already tried debating the dead thing didn't care much for it. What? Long story. Look, Mezzo, you've looked out for me my whole life. Let me return the favor. Dazi, I can't do this. I can't watch you die. I love you, kiddo. Adagio took Araminso's hand and held it to her cheek. I know. We all know. We're supposed to be just mentor and mentee. We've become something more than all this time. When this is all over, we're going to have to talk about the change in our relationship. Like what? Adagio's smile was loving. Maybe adoption? You better live long enough for that to happen. Do you understand me? Araminso ordered. Yes, ma'am, Adagio said with a salute. Yes, Mom, the older woman replied. Adagio gave a fond smile and immediately rushed back to the front seat and kicked the door out. Immediately, the front door started taking fire, but the teen wasn't going around long enough for that. She dived through one of the windows of the nearby building, rolling as she landed, and hopped onto her feet in a run. She immediately vaulted up the stairs as fast as she could, ramming the door at the top until it got open. The moment it did, automatic fire buzzed against the door as it ricocheted off. I've got one chance to do this right, or else she's a goner, Dacia thought to herself in a rush. She left behind her carbine so Araminso could reload faster, which meant all she had on her hand was a pistol, and sidearms were exactly known for their range. Still, she was going to have to do it, or else. Dacia shut her eyes. It was too horrible to contemplate. She even her breath, looked as through one of the bullet holes in what she saw terrified her. While one of them was still drawing a bead on their location, the sniper had a spotter, and she was setting up an RPG, and there was no doubt what was going to happen next. Adagio dashed out the door, bullet whizzing past her neck. A second round hit her left shoulder, but despite the pain and the force, she somehow made a stay at her own feet, ignoring the haze of her own blood splashing her eyes, or the fact she couldn't feel her left arm. She heard a whoosh in the distance. Half blinded, she fired. She heard screams, knowing she hit her target. She then took a chance and wiped her eyes just as the explosion went off. Adagio didn't need to know what happened then. Her eyes shrank to manic pupils as she walked up to the two sirens. She didn't even let the marksman speak. She fired 2 shots at point-blank range into her throat. The next one, she immediately slammed her foot into her chest and said, "You killed my mother!" Fuck you, you traitorous bitch! The siren snarled. "I always knew you were weak, Blaze." "Oh, I'm weak, all right," the girl with the gun snarled. "I'm weak enough to murder the person who killed one of the people I love most. Oh, and it's Dazzle, not Blaze. You're confusing me with my sister." "So fucking what?" A siren's shout turned into a scream as Adagio dropped the gun, grabbing the enemy with both arms and throwing her into the ruin of the van. She didn't take the time to note the odd juxtaposition in her life. The closest thing she had to a mother, now encased in a burning wreck, was the siren that had murdered her. Adagio didn't take the time to think of any of that when she ignored her wound. She picked up the marksman gun and started firing at anyone she knew wasn't an ally. She only knew that the mission, the one she'd come for all along, would take priority. The rage and hatred could abide until she found Katana Blast. Then hell itself was going to stop her from murdering her ex-commander. The queen sniffed the air. Something smelled wonderful, an aroma she never encountered before. Maybe back when she was other, she might have, but that was before she became perfect. She yipped in delight. This was heaven. She snarled orders to sister and mate, informing them of the situation. Sister seemed interested, as females do. Mate, however, had only one thing, and one thing only. Typical of males, honestly. Well, that was fine by Queen. Sometimes there were other priorities, like food or sleep. Or this wonderful, indescribable thing. Queen immediately locked off in the direction of the scent, with sister and mate soon following. Soon she would have that. Soon she would have all. "Let us the fuck out!" Rainbow shook against the bars, to no avail. Other than being in this creepy, Greek-like place, there was no sign of anything that would indicate where they were or how they were going to get out. It was like they were arcades on the stage. "Actually, it's probably exactly that," she mused. "Rainbow, don't hurt yourself, Sugar Cube. Whatever's going on, we'll find out due time." Applejack assured her. "Applejack, they're going to kill us," Twilight said softly. "They're going to kill us and we have no idea why." "We don't know that, Twilight," Kian said, though she wasn't entirely convinced of her own words. "Antia, what do you think?" "They're going to kill us." That came not from Celestia, but from her near twin, Solaire. "They're going to kill us and it's under my foot!" Solaire started to sob. I'm so sorry. Celestia embraced the other woman. "You're not to blame. That madman is. In one way or another, we will get out of this okay, Sully. I promise." "Don't make promises you can't keep." Everyone turned to see Divine Right standing there, with a grin and the proverbial cat who had prior ingested the canary. "Divine, I swear, let me out and my daughter go, or else," Solaire seethed. "Or else what? You try some more. Maybe make babies a more common than trash." Where's Chin? He gestured to the two men in there. "At the row, you have 2 there to get started with, right? Looks like you've got enough for your own little soiree." "You disgust me." "The theory is mutual," he told her. "To think I ever thought to be with you. I must have been mad. Well, fortunately, you have contributed something to my needs. And what that is, you'll find out later. Who knows? You might even live to see it." With that, he started to walk away. Looking at her family and the children present, Velvet finally lost it. "We're doomed!" she said, looking at the man on the other side of the cage, holding all the proverbial cards. All she could see, though, were the corpses in her mind, and the corpses that these people around her would soon be. To her surprise, Phil walked over her, taking her hand, said, "Don't worry, Mrs. V. The cavalry's on the way." "Rainbow," Celestia began, "I don't think—" "You're wrong, Miss Celestia," Rainbow said. "Trust me, There's nothing that can or will stop her. Sort of a magical orbital friendship laser. No one knows that better than me and the girls. She looked at her four fellow CHS students and surprised everyone. They all had the same look on her face. Buy some time, Rarity suggested. On it. Rainbow said, turning to shouting, Hey, Pluto! I'm not done with you yet! Rainbow! Octavia shouted, What are you doing? Latina started banging on the barrels again. What, you scared chicken shit? He finally turned. Children should be seen and not heard, he told her. Especially worthless children. She laughed out. Hey, asshole, newsflash. You know you just fucked up hard, right? She leaned up against the bars, looking at her with eyes filled with murder. So you dare talk to me that way, trollop? Pinky had enough at that point. She gently pushed Rainbow out of the way, saying, Let an expert handle this, Daphne. Looking at him eye to eye with a cocky grin on her face, she copied from one particular person. She suddenly crowed, Ooh, now you fucked up. Excuse me, you pink-headed slattern. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Reached through the bars to grab her shirt. Shut up, you little whore, or I will shut you up! You fucked up now! You will shut your mouth and I order you to. Do you understand me? In response, Pinky pulled away from him and started dancing side to side, continuing, Now you fucked up, now you fucked up. I will kill you where you stand! He roared. She didn't stop. Now you fucked up, now you fucked up, now you fucked up. The shock of everyone, Divine raised his hand. An aura of sulphurous yellow surrounded it. Pinky was painfully, unceremoniously lifted by her neck as he started choking due to his magical grasp. Looking at her with the gaze of a spire admiring a fly, he said, No. You learn your place for what little time you have left, you whore. Do you have any last words? Pinky fixed her blue eyes on him and her smile went away. Her hair began to straighten up and her visage became one of stone. With volume, people knew her intended to call the Royal Caroline voice. He bellowed, Now you fucked up. Dare you, little cunt! You're like, you, she gasped. She will personally send you to hell where you belong. Suddenly he realized. A ruse, a guilt. With a sweep of his arm, he threw Pinky painfully into the wall. Cheap theatrics won't frighten me. Any of you. He tugged at his coat lapels to straighten them, then dusted himself off. I have with you. With that, he departed once more. The moment he was gone, Pinky forced herself to her feet. She had a bruise and a cut lip that was bleeding, but a smile on her face was perfectly a wide smile. That should do it, she chirped. Pick up in your pie! Luna shouted. What the fuck were you doing? I was thinking I was saving us from him getting a little trigger happy, she looked at Maul. He had a gun on him, and while I don't know if he was going to use it, I didn't want to risk it. People say we're full, Harry, Applejack said, and Rainbow nodded in agreement. Luna went over and fiercely hugged the teen. You calling yourself killed, Pinky? I know, she said, her hair starting to return to its curl. But I know she would have done the same thing. Who's this she you keep speaking about? Octavia said. I tell you, but that spoils the surprise, Pinky said with a wink. Sunset and Raspberry ran down the halls as fast as they could. Or rather, as fast as Raspberry could, given that even her brace allowed far more mobility. She was still not used to running in a human form. To their surprise, he had not come across any opposition yet. But who knew how much time he had? Look, the Guardian Knot has to be around here somewhere, Raspberry said. There's gotta be a focal point, but you're gonna have to sniff it out, Sonny. Without my magic, I can't tell anything. Working on it. It's black magic, so I'm not as versed in it as you are. Sunset put her hands against the walls, trying to feel for ambient magic leakage. Cover me. I'm going to focus a large pulse through the complex and see if that helps any. Sure thing, Raspberry replied, while Sunset sat down. What are you doing? Focusing, Sunset said as she closed her eyes. Sonny, you're a unicorn, just... It suddenly dawned on the former unicorn as to what she was going to say. Then she simply said, oh, yeah. So, is that how humans do it? Magic summoning for those that do? I don't know. I know that when I had my magic lock, I had to do a lot of meditation and such to get to use the big stuff when I got the chance. And not even when my full power available to me, some old habits die hard, you know? A smile came over the flame-haired girl's face. Maybe it just shows how much a human of an outlook I have now. I never intended it. Maybe at the end of the day, this is who I was always meant to be, you know? Instead of Celestia's daughter? That I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I love her. But after this is over, like I said, assume my family here still wants me around, I'm going to have to do a lot of soul searching. I'm not going to deny the mayor who raised me, but neither am I going to deny the man and woman who are doing that now. Know how you feel. When I was adopted, I found out I had 3 siblings I never met. I don't even remember their names, and I think one of them was even against having a kid sister this late in life. So in a sense, I'm in the same boat as you are. But as much as my biological father and I never got along, and that I never knew my biological mother, I don't forget they're there even when I'm with my new parents. You shouldn't have to either. Let me ask you this. If you were completely human and never been a pony, would you still had a mother and father that mattered? Honestly, it's never bothered me. I've seen images, a flash of what my dom looked like, but even then the trail stops there and I have no idea who sired me. Frankly, I don't care. For me, the buck stops and starts at... She groaned. I still don't know whether I should be calling her mom or Princess Celestia. That's up to you. Can't help you there. Celestia was going to continue the conversation further, seeing that she suddenly felt a stroke that nearly knocked her off her feet. Did you feel that? Raspberry gave her a little look. No magic, remember? I can't feel any big black glasses, given I wasn't doing a probe. Yeah, sorry. Celestia got back to her feet, reached for her gun, and checked the ammo, like she was supposed to. Never thought I'd be doing this. What, fighting the bad guys? What about that thing you did with the club group? No, I mean this. She brandished the gun for her friend to see. I mean killing someone. That's a major line I've never crossed. It's not easy. But when you have friends and loved ones, they're there to help you get used. Sunset gave her a curious look. You sound like you have. Yeah. I thought I told you I took down a werewolf named Fair Vista. Sabalone was her mate, and that's why his name freaked me out at first. She paused. Is there a Fair Vista around here? Yeah, there's a Fair Vista Boulevard in downtown named after her. Sunset replied. If I remember correctly, the historical person was a gunslinger during the old days that they used to call the Lone Wolf, because he was single-handedly hunting down the outlaws that murdered her husband, whose name was Hitching Post, not Sabalone, as I recall. Wolf themes, Raspberry replied. And I think the local Sable had a nickname like Wolf as well? Wolf of Kabul. I recall one of the Triplets Mendenhors mentioning that. Raspberry looked at her and Sunset explained the reference. It has to do with a war on the other side of the world, in another country. The Sabalone Applejacking carrot was a result of a war with Caroline. Raspberry smiled. You ever wondered just how thin the Pari Quantum is? Sometimes. Though here they're referred to as quantum strings, a scientific reference, not magical. Quantum strings, right. What's a quantum and why is it made of strings? Sunset sighed. You asked that again, and I'm going to make you sit through one of Dr. Who's lessons. I swear, for a high school teacher, the man thinks he's a tenured university professor. Okay, you're confusing me. You clearly had a different life than we do. I get that. Can you get back to what we're doing? Hey, you started this. Sunset summoned a ball of air as she tossed it in the air. The molten light started to slowly head in the direction they needed to go. Raspberry shook her head. Yeah. Anyway, you'll know what's right when the time comes. You can take your opponent down without killing, do that. But it means saving a life. Yeah, I know. Both girls started running after the ball, which was picking up speed. Believe me, I know. Dottie, are you okay? Vesper looked at the young girl, trying not to see where her sister had just been killed, warring with the emotions of both losing her sister and her best friend in a span of a few days. Dottie, say something! The girl had a blank-eyed stare, the kind Vesper knew all too well. It usually ended with a siren losing it or falling into suicide or some other casualty. Finally, the woman grabbed Adagio by the shoulders, shaking her violently. See, Bedazzle, get a hold of yourself! She told me she loved me like a daughter, Adagio murmured. Dottie, please, not now. Not while we have a mission. Despite the situation, Vesper wrapped her arms around the shattered girl in an embrace. Please don't do this to me. I can't lose you too. Unaware of what's going on, a short distance away, Sable grabbed one of the injured tangles and pulled her to her feet. Let's have a chat, shall we? Fuck you, Smordik! She said, but Sable did it anyway. Will you take this cake? Zephyr asked. think Vesper might want some information out of her, Sable remarked. Good thinking. Me and the kids here will clean the rest up. Clean the rest up? Sided up to Sephira's point immediately. Let's just say we'll be a few bullets short, but we'll manage, she added. I like the way you think, Sides, Zephyr said, to which the girl did a mock curtsy. Evergreen, however, wasn't as eager about it. In cold blood, it's that little... Yeah, it is. But they have Sable's girl and mine, as well as a fuck ton of innocents. I don't think we have time to do things the nice way. The older man responded, I really don't like the idea, Sable told him. Granted, I'm not saying I like my fights fair when it comes to these girls, but... Zephyr chuckled. Well, what a nice guy. Didn't think SOF had any left. Okay, we'll do it your way. They're going to have concussions and multiple wounds, but to be alive at the end of the day. That work? Yeah, I can live with that. But keep in mind, it's more for those girls than me. No, they're child soldiers. They were killing people at the same age we were busy playing Rebels versus the Empire. Sad to say, but I bet they've seen more shit than any of us have. You're probably right. But don't blame me for wanting to keep them innocent, whether or not they are. Sephia thought of Shimmer and the innocence that had been shattered when they captured her and her mother and shot him. He never wanted to see the look on a girl's face ever again. You have a point, he sighed. Thanks. He turned back to the captured siren. Okay, now you're going to be nice and tell us all about this building and all sorts of info, right? The only thing I'm telling you is that you and these idiots with you are dead when the rest of our force hits you like a ton of pigs. We're just to get guards. The really nasty stuff is coming, she taunted. Yeah, heard all that before. As I recall, I've already taken out several of you elites. Zero responded as he pushed her on towards where Adagio and Vesper were. As he approached with the victim, he called out, Hey, got one we might want to talk. Before either of them could respond, Adagio grabbed Vesper's pistol and went out warring, started pistol whipping the siren for what she was worth. Daji, stop! Vesper ordered, but Adagio wasn't anywhere near done. The teen turned to Sable. Give me your knife, she growled. What kid? Give me the goddamn knife! She said in a tone that implied she wasn't in the mood to argue. Sable looked at Vesper and she shrugged. So Sable reluctantly did so. Adagio reacted by taking it, then backhanding her captive with the gun again. Just enough to wake her up. The siren screamed and Adagio took advantage of this by ramming the gun in the girl's mouth. Hello, Coco, Adagio said. Haven't seen you in a while. The siren looked at her and mumbled something angrily. Adagio sighed. We used to be friends once. Still have the knife I lent you back in February? Adagio removed the gun so her former friend could talk. You traitorous bitch, she snarled. Coco, you were a good friend. But you had to be as dumb as a duck on doorknobs. The captain betrayed us for power. She didn't want to get back at CSIS for what he did to the Admiral, so he maneuvered us this way so we could betray our private army. For her and that prince of hers. You're lying, Rocco smiled. No, we're not, Seaman Shred, Vesper told her. We have proofs. You're lying. Her tone didn't sound like someone was convinced, but instead the road repetition someone had been brainwashed. Furthermore, her pupils became slitted, and her skin started to turn green. And now, I'm going to kill you! I meant it. You were a friend, Coco. Goodbye. And with that, Adagio slammed the knife into Rocco's heart as hard as she could. It pulled on its side hard enough for the blade to snap. The changing creature that was a siren spat out torrent blood, then slumped to the ground, dead. Adagio looked at the ruined knife, then back at Sable. I owe you a new knife. Sorry about that. He looked at the knife, then the malformed creature lying on the ground. Remind me not to piss you off. Yeah, Adagio said sadly. Yeah, I guess. Vesper looked at her charged. You could be okay, Daji? To her surprise and concern, the teenager gave a huge smile. Not until I kill Katana, until there's nothing left except component atoms. I might consider going after those too. Heliodor raced through the skies, avoiding the stares of the basilisk on his cyst. He mentally laughed. They were just stupid pigeon lizards. They didn't have the brains or the magic like he did. Or the need for speed. Without warning, the Phoenix as Canary immediately made a dive bomb for a weather vane, one of the larger basilisk's on his tail, coming in hot. He gave himself a cocksure grin and showed the opening bars to danger zone. Just as the claws were about to grab him, he barrel rolled to the right, followed by a snap in element and screamed flames at his foes. The first basilisk had no time to stop and impaled itself on the vein, while the other two were instantly immolated by flames. Seeing that, more of the unnatural creatures rushed toward him, murder in their eyes. He grinned. After all, their egos were just writing checks their bodies couldn't cash. For now it was time to turn and baby, burn, baby, turn and burn! Elsewhere, in the bedchambers, Divine Ray had prepared for the final sacrifice. The one would give him all the power in the world, ownership of reality. He would be God Emperor of all, and there would be not a thing that would gainsay him. He vaguely heard an alarm in the background, but immediately dismissed it as katana running drills. That's what he did, after all. If there was an actual emergency, as if anything could get past his time-stop spell, then she would handle it. Right now, he had much more important things to do. He looked over a selection of robes and wondered which one would be best to be declared ruler of all in. On one hand, purple was the color of emperors and kings, definitely fit him. On the other hand, the gold brought out the color of his eyes, and looking good was always a priority. So many choices, so many choices. How? Katana asked. I don't know, ma'am, the petty officer reported. Somehow, the surviving rogue sirens are now in the campus, and they are settled for 2 men. We haven't identified them yet, but from what we can tell, they're clearly operators. They managed to take down the gate guards before they were even aware, and while they did suffer a casualty from what I could tell, they now have command of the front gate. Well, take them down and kill them, am I clear? Aye, ma'am. She ran off to her own team in the gates. Swears like I had to do everything myself, she hissed. Sunset and Raspberry continued to make their way down to the belly of the beast, following the seeker ball, running down the stairs as fast as they could. So far, they had yet to run into any major opposition, save for one person who had been doing a perimeter patrol, and had dumb luck to run into a pair while they were using one of the stairwells. Sunset, not in the mood for a dragged-out fight, made quick work of her. Raspberry's surprise, her fellow equestrian had a few more skills than he usually let on. How did you? Raspberry asked. A sobbing in her voice after she saw Sunset rush in, where the enemy girl pulled her gun. Sunset slammed her to the wall curiously of a well-tossed fireball, followed by a volley of brutal punches to the head, face, and chest of the siren. By the time Sunset withdrew, the unconscious siren fell to the ground, and Sunset used that advantage to affix the offender to the wall, in cases a full quiet spell on her. Sunset had struck the girl for weapons, and he moved as nothing happened. I've learned a few things while I was here, Raz, Sunset said with a grin. I've had to, since for the longest time I was by myself. Sure, now I have Twilight and the others, but for years I was the only one looking out for me. So I had to learn something. AJ and Bonnie wanted to learn where I picked up what I already had, but I didn't want to tell them I learned by watching TV. Maybe my special talent is being more of a troublemaker before anything else. Well, if nothing else, it explains that weird dance you did when you were attacking me back in Ponyville. Now seeing you do as a human, it makes a lot more sense. Well, it's a lot more impressive too. Yeah. Sunset responded, not sure how to respond to that. She was Sir Raspberry giving her a compliment, but she had to admit she'd never been one for compliments no matter where they were. How much farther do we have to go? Raspberry asked. Not entirely sure, Raz. But I'm sure that one way or another we'll figure it out. The line of tight anger that was Sunset's personal rage and worry began to smolder once more. You know what? I kinda hope we don't. I do my best damage when I improvise. She gave her friend a wolfish grin, and probably for the first time since Raspberry had arrived on this planet, one of the few people she trusted became all the deadlier for it. Underneath that, normally Mulberry Mare could see the worry and fear Sunset had for her trapped family, wondering if her loved ones were still just that, or she was doomed to be forever alone. And nothing else, right now, Raspberry knew that Sunset would use that worry and rage and pain against her opponents. So much so that not even Tira could stand against her. In its supernatural confine, a monstrous being laughed. Soon, it reminded itself. Soon I will be free, and this waste of a mud ball will be mine.